So how easily can internet companies monitor what we look at online, and what do they do with the information? Seamus Byrne is the editor of IT website CNET Australia, and he joins me now. So Seamus Byrne, is it normal practice for internet companies to track what everyone does on the internet?
Yeah, absolutely. I think actually in some ways it's admirable Google's been so open with the changes that they've been planning. What we often find is that a lot of companies are already doing this. If you log into any website, they effectively place this tracking, what it's called a cookie, onto your system, and they can do a lot with that information. It's often hidden away in privacy policies, but in this case, Google's trying to be very, very transparent about what they're planning to do.
But every keystroke we make looking at any sort of website is being tracked somewhere.
Yes, that's right. So every time you open your web browser and go to any website, these days there's this system called a cookie, and that basically passes information between different web pages. So on some levels it's as basic as tracking login information, but in other ways it is about tracking the different things you're looking at. And when it's passed between third parties in particular, such as advertising networks, that's when people really start to worry, because you don't know who that third party is in any direct sense, but they can be collating a lot of information about you behind the scenes.
And how detailed a profile can they be building up?
Well, I mean, a good example actually was when AOL released a whole bunch of supposedly anonymous data about people a few years ago for research. And what people found was you could instantly draw a picture of exactly who some people were, because often people will search for their own name, they'll search their address, and then they search for things that they're interested in or looking at or jobs they're applying for. And even on what is supposedly anonymous information, you can build an incredibly detailed profile of who someone is.
But when does monitoring become invasive? When do laws are broken?
Well, the EU is looking very closely, and they do have regulations in place on exactly how tracking is allowed to occur. And the US are looking at it a lot more as well. And here in Australia, it's actually still very, very open. I think the big thing for most people is that the tracking itself isn't always the problem. It's more the transparency attached to it, that in the end every user should have the opportunity to say, no, I don't want to take part. And when you don't even get that opportunity, I think that's when there's a real problem.
But is there anything we can do to limit a company's ability to track what we're doing on the internet?
Well, a lot of the systems do, let you dig around, and if you go hunting through your own sort of account profiles, you can find out what's going on, and then you can sometimes opt out. Other times it's just purely hidden away in privacy policies, and you almost have to, make phone calls and leave the web to actually stop these things from happening. It's very hard for people to know, and that's where I think some regulation probably is a good idea, to at least set some minimum standards for what users should be able to choose.
Seamus Byrne, thank you.
Thank you.